Hello, today I'm going to be comparing two very different authors. I'm going to start with this author, Tatiana Bachkirova, who's written this book, Developmental Coaching, Working with the Self. And then I've got a pile of books here by Alice Munro, the Canadian short story writer and Canada's only ever Nobel Prize laureate for literature, who sadly passed away yesterday at the age of 92. Now, I'm going to explain what the connection is. It's not obvious, but it's there. So I read this book a couple of months ago, and one passage stood out to me, and it was a passage in which Bachkirova talks about people's misconceptions about coaching and personal development, and the idea that coaching is for a certain kind of person. You hear a lot of talk of high achievers. We hear a lot of talk about executive coaching. And her point is, she states explicitly something to the effect that ordinary people with ordinary jobs, seemingly ordinary lives, could benefit every bit as much as any so-called high performer. Let's put that around, air quotes around that, high performer. Okay? The idea is that coaching isn't just for people who want to make six figures or go from six figures to eight figures. It's also about seemingly minor shifts in your life that can make your relationships more satisfying, make you feel more at home in the world. Things that do not look earth-shattering on the outside, but can profoundly redirect your life in directions that are more meaningful for you. And one of the reasons I love Alice Munro's writing is that she chooses the most mundane, seemingly boring settings. This is the mark of a great writer, someone who can set a story not in some magical kingdom, not in some faraway place that's more exotic. Her stories were mostly set in small-town Ontario. And if you haven't been, it's not the most exciting corner of the world. And yet, her characters are teeming with life. Many of them were farmers, townsfolk, often people with limited means. And yet, these people have fascinating inner lives and compelling questions, conflicts. And that's what makes her a great writer. She brings these ordinary people to life because she has that depth of perception to see beyond the surface. And interestingly, she was often compared to Anton Chekhov, another master of the short story form. And in an interview that she gave with the organizers of the Nobel Prize shortly after winning it back in 2013, she said the following in an interview. She said, talking about Chekhov and when she discovered him as a young woman and why she appreciated him, she said, the extreme importance he would give to ordinary life, the dignity he gave to such people who generally didn't get into stories, and the kindness. There's a wonderful mercy in Chekhov, as if everybody is worthwhile. As if everybody is worthwhile. And you get this real sense in her books that everybody is worthwhile. Not that everyone's good. Most of her characters have quite long shadows. People are rarely good or bad. And in the interview that she gave, she mentions quite a few times that she never wants to be didactic, her choice of words. And in celebration of her memory, I was thinking about doing this video last week. Strangely, I'd picked up one of her books recently, not knowing that she was about to pass away, and thought, there's something here about Alice Munro's perspective on the world and the kind of perspective I want to bring to coaching. I don't think Alice Munro would dream of ever being a coach. She would be horrified by the thought, but I thought, what is it about this woman that inspired me? And what can I share with the world about Alice Munro? And now that she's passed away, it seems all the more important to share this idea to you, listener, viewer, that we are all worthwhile. And we don't need to have big dramatic problems for them to be worthwhile, to deserve attention, and care and consideration. So that's my reflection on coaching for the everyday, for everyday people. And I hope you found this useful. I will share the link to the interview with Munro in the comments. And as they say in the Jewish faith, may her memory be a blessing.